Hello there. Thanks so much for joining us for episode 22 of the Long Comics Book Club, a bi-weekly podcast about long comics, also known as manga and graphic novels. My name is Shane, and I'm the older brother. I'm joined by Spence, the younger brother. Spence, say hello to the folks at home.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
And today, we are excited to have our very first guest on the show. Actor, Twitch streamer, co-host of the Arena Regulars podcast, your source of drunken Magic the Gathering arena content, and Magic the Gathering ambassador for the upcoming Avatar The Last Airbender set, the indescribable regular Zach. Zach, welcome to the book club.
Wow, thank you so much. That was an amazing intro. I really appreciate it. And thank you both for having me here.
Thrilled to have an expert on Magic the Gathering for today's conversation. Our very own professional. You're a busy guy. Clearly, we needed to find some way to carve out some time in your schedule with everything you're trying to balance at the moment.
Yeah, lots of things going on, but I'm really glad we found a time, and I'm excited to talk about the things we have to talk about today.
Yeah, because we're going to be jumping into a doubleheader today, which is our first doubleheader, which is pretty thrilling as well. We're going to be talking about Elspeth, Untold Stories. The first issue came out in September, and we're stoked to be able to chat about that because there's a lot to talk about despite it being fairly short. And then we're also going to chat a little bit about volumes 2 through 5 of the manga, Destroy All Humans, They Can't Be Regenerated. We covered volume 1 a couple of months ago, but we're excited to cycle back to it because I think it all relates to the Magic the Gathering theme that we have going on today's episode. We're also going to then end the second part of the show with a question that's on the top of everyone's mind. What does regular Zach watch, play, and read when he's not streaming?
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for telling me now so I can think about it before we get there.
A heads up, yeah, now so you can keep that in the back of your mind and it's not fully jumped on you when we arrive there. But if you're interested in reading any of that content and you don't want spoilers, check out the time codes in the description, and then we'll end the podcast with Spence introducing the long comic for the next podcast that'll come out on December 6th. And before we dive into all that, a big thanks to Vesperia Manga and Comics for providing today's long comics, by which, of course, I mean thank you, Spence, the owner and proprietor of Vesperia, located at 1935 West Broadway in Vancouver, and VesperiaComics.com online. So then getting into the book club, we're going to start off with the first issue of Elspeth Untold Stories. This is a Dark Horse comic with story by Dan Waters, art by Owen Gienni. And Zach, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is your plot synopsis for this first issue?
So, the first issue seems to be it's kind of laying the groundwork for Elspeth in general, her backstory, as we're getting into her escape from the underworld on the plane of Theros, which I'm happy that we actually get, because I was prepared to help give a little backstory of what's going on with her character. But the first issue kind of laid it out very, very nicely of her as a child and as an adult, things that have happened, where she is now, and kind of where she's going to go as she tries to escape death.
Yeah. A lot of groundwork. That's a good way to put it. It's a lot of foundation making. I'm now curious. You said you were prepared to provide. Have you read previous Theros graphic? I found out there's Theros novels. Have you read those?
I didn't read the Theros novels, but Theros is a big part of the Magic story as far as original Theros block did a lot of... It taught the Mark Rosewater, who's one of the head designers of Magic, it taught them how they wanted to showcase the story to a lot of the players. Because through Magic's history, they've had comic books, they've had novels, like actual books. More recently, they've had short stories online. And in Theros, it was kind of one of those times where they didn't have I think they might have had a novel for the actual block.
I think this was the ebook era
For the original Theros?
for original Theros. So for starting with Return to Ravnica was the first time they decided to try releasing them in ebooks. I'm not exactly sure when they ended, but Theros was the one right after Return to Ravnica. So that would be a good assumption.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But basically, what they were trying to do is they didn't want to spoil the ending of the story in the cards because they were expecting people to play the game and also read the story. But because of Theros specifically, they realized no one read the story. That people only played the cards and didn't know that at the end of the Theros story, Elspeth dies. And that was a big, big plot point that wasn't on the cards because they didn't want to spoil it for anybody. And then later people were like, wait, what are you talking about? She's like the main character. She does a bunch of cool stuff. She died? There wasn't a card where she died.
Yeah.
And so that fundamentally changed the way that they presented the story in Magic cards. And now or in a different place, but they show big story points now because they don't care about spoiling the story anymore.
Wow.
Which is also doubly interesting too if you think of Theros block because you would assume you got the climax to Theros because Deicide is the card of her killing Xenagos. You probably assume that was how the
Exactly.
story ended, but yeah,
But that's right before the story ends.
yes,
So it's one of those things that it's just so fun to talk about Elspeth just in general because of that kind of stamp that she's put on the Magic story. It's something that Mark Rosewater brings up often, and so I think it's cool that we're going back to this specific story as well. Magic is moving into the place that it is moving into.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of interesting pieces in there. So the first is that Magic previously was almost like multiversal in the way that we have a lot of films sort of go into different multiverses with one central timeline, except that they all do that through different TV shows, whereas Magic, it sounds like previously was trying to do that through different forms of media to what success? Harder to say.
I think you could argue Magic was never very successful at getting people to like read supplemental material.
That I would agree with that. Yeah.
So then, what do you think? What are your thoughts on why are we cycling back to Theros now?
That is a funny idea because yes, this is a random thing. It's seemingly random that like this book that just came out is talking about a set that came out 5 years ago. So Theros Beyond Death or something like that. It was
the set before COVID got crazy.
Exactly. And so it's just this weird kind of piece of like there wasn't really any stories for Theros Beyond Death. That wasn't we had just fallen off of there was a novel for War of the Spark, which was the giant culmination of a bunch of sets where a bunch of the planeswalkers, which are in Magic the main characters, get trapped on Ravnica, one of the most famous planes, and they're all supposed to have a war and essentially die. And then that novel did so horribly that they just scrapped everything that was going to happen with this set.
I've read that novel.
Oh, I was going to ask.
Yeah, I've read it too. And
you guys have both read this. Okay.
Did you read the second one as well, or just the first one?
I didn't. I put my copy of War of the Spark in a one of those like little free libraries and tried to forget about the whole thing because it was.
No!
But no, I did not. I didn't actually know that there was another one until much later did I realize that there was a sequel to that story. It was a huge flop.
Okay, so you think that maybe there was hesitation to go back into this?
And also, I should say, this book was a huge flop. War of the Spark, the story on the cards, was actually probably one of their more successful story moments.
Yeah. I think that there were a couple of pieces that people wanted a little bit more war, I guess, or death, I guess. Yeah, as far as the actual the novel was. How it was written and some of the things that happen, it was just such a huge disappointment that I think all of my friends who were into talking about the lore all stopped. We were all like, oh, never mind, I guess we won't care about this anymore. Which is
really interesting. But I mean, the concept of Magic lore I think we're touching on here, which is that it does seem like Magic, it still has its lore, but it's much more divided now. You have they choose a planeswalker and they put them in a place. Whereas it seemed like previously there was a lot more central characters, central plot lines.
I don't really think so. I think for the most part they had the thing with Magic is that they've always needed to go to different planes right? To make this sets kind of like more interesting in their flavor and stuff. And so planeswalkers happen to be your main characters because they could go to the different planes.
Yeah, give you the adventures you need.
Yeah,
And so,
I would say one of the biggest changes is how much faster it's gotten.
Yeah.
in terms of
Because
story progress, you mean?
or just
Yeah.
more in terms, yeah, because like it used to be like you'd have one like Elspeth's original Theros story took an entire year to tell.
Mhm.
Where in this one now we have like 4 stories, or I guess 3 series, however many sets are get released a year.
2 and 3.
Now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it keeps
Yeah.
updating. I mean, something that's also so then the other thing that I thought was really interesting coming back to this comic and sort of what we're talking about now. This is not a comic for someone not familiar with magic, is what we're sort of describing at this point. Because I realize we've already thrown a lot of terms, a lot of
Oh yeah.
references out there that if you
We
don't know
yes.
magic, we have lost you 5-10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
which
Yes.
is interesting.
If you thought our original Story All Humans one was bad,
Yeah, it was hard to follow. This one is going to be especially so. So if you're listening and you're not familiar with magic, buckle your seatbelts because you're about to learn a lot of terms you never
Yes.
knew existed.
Yes. I was hoping not to like bombard with information, but I do have one of those brains that's it's full of specifically magic stuff, and so it just kind of pours out.
Yeah,
Um,
doesn't
but I
always have the
do.
opportunity in everyday conversation. So when given the chance, it's like let loose the
I
floodgates.
I try to manufacture as much magic conversation as I possibly can in my life. So,
Success.
yes, but coming back to this book and this kind of story in itself is that we've kind of alluded to before the magic storytelling and the emphasis they're putting on telling their own stories is taking a backseat because they're adventuring into this new place where they're using IPs that are from other games or TV shows and stuff. You had talked about Avatar: The Last Airbender at the beginning of this. For I'm an ambassador for that, and so we only get like half of the year is going to be magic story sets, which, like Spence was mentioning, it took a whole year to tell Elspeth's story originally. That was over 3 sets in 1 year. And so we're kind of in the same place. We just have all these supplementary, or they're not supplementary, but these other sets that are coming out that are not magic focused. So I think that it's cool that we're going back to this one character that they must feel people have a kinship with. Elspeth. This is a character that has been in Magic Story as recently as this year. In Tarkir Dragonstorm, she was a character and a card that was showcased. So maybe backtracking a little bit, it must mean that we're going to have some more Elspeth in the future as far as cards go.
Mhm. And so then are you thinking with their choice to go back to this, do you sort of see that they're trying to sell the comic? Are they trying to satisfy fans who are demanding more lore? Why do you think, what's the impetus to
I
take
think
this story?
so. I think it's kind of the second one. I have a couple other comics that they have done with me here that I
Wow.
will buy Magic Comics when I see them because I want
Nice.
to read them.
Yeah.
But they, in the recent times, this one in particular, this is like their Magic, their Boom Studios one, which has like 3 marquee characters that are like planeswalkers that are trying to find, I don't know, their assassin. Someone's trying to attack them. But this specific comic is not, it's not canon. Like
Hmm.
things that happen in this series don't technically happen in the world of magic, which is such a strange choice to me.
interesting.
Because there's certain things like characters that had either died, had something else had happened, or like they don't explicitly follow storylines that happened in the sets or on the cards, as opposed to Elspeth, which is all canon. And that's what the first issue told me was like, this is all canon stuff that happened. You can trust that this comic will be telling you the truth about what's going on,
Mhm.
as opposed to their venture into let's explore another niche universe in the magic universe already. Of like, the comics have their own thing, which I don't really know why they decided to do that. I thought it was a cool series, but it was a strange idea, I think,
Yeah.
in
What is the
general.
name of that series?
Um, I don't know. I think it's literally just magic.
just
Um,
magic with associated with Boom Comics. Spence, were you aware of this?
Yes, I
Oh
was.
man,
I don't think
so out of
they
the
don't make it
loop.
anymore.
yeah, I don't think they're
Yeah,
making it
and
either.
I don't even think I can buy the. I was looking to get to replace my copy of like the trade paperback collection of it. I couldn't get it anymore, so
Mm,
I think it's like that
wow.
far out. Um,
Zach, you have an exclusive item in your hands.
well,
Yeah, I mean, like this is one of the items that I like wanted to keep up with. I think it came out in 2021.
Okay,
So
recent. Wow.
yes,
Okay.
so it's a
recent-ish.
recent. It takes place after War of the Spark, and one of the characters that had died in that story is alive and a robot in this one. So which is very,
All right,
it's
sure.
kind of then that's your first inclination of like, oh wait, I think this is a different thing entirely. So
Did you ever read the old like Dak Faden Magic comics from like
I didn't
20?
actually read those
Yeah,
ones.
because those are another interesting take on it. Where it's like we're gonna make it canon, but also like none of the characters you care like randomly like Olivia Voldaren will show up for like a little bit, but like most of the
Hmm.
actual characters don't really interact. It's kind of like filler arc esque. And then like
Right, like
eventually
side
Dark Faden got a
story.
card. Yeah, eventually Dark Faden got a
Mhm.
card and all that, and then got killed in War in the Spark, and didn't have a
Yeah,
card. That's one of the famous things that people didn't like about the War of the Spark story. Dark Faden
yeah.
got killed in it and then didn't have a card.
At least he got killed in the trailer, and
Yes,
well, that was the best thing about that entire set, I think.
that
What's the
trailer
trailer?
was the trailer was amazing.
It's
It
funny. I
was
was thinking about the trailer
phenomenal.
as soon as you brought it up, because it's exciting. I mean, magic sometimes really shines in different media when it comes to animated stuff as well. And I mean, I think this comic's really interesting because I mean, not just the lore component, but it's way more artsy than I was expecting.
Oh, hell yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's one page that just has fully no text, no automatopoeia or anything. It's just like panels with like a shadow of uh Dream Planeswalker man. I forget his name.
Ashiok.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ashiok. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Also Ashiok is non-binary for the record.
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But
Or
yeah,
probably
Ashiok.
just genderless is even a better way, like beyond
Yeah, I
human
think so.
kind of.
Yeah,
Yes.
but just framed up against panels and like
Yeah.
it visually is super interesting. And also even just the way they tell the story, it
Mm,
it's not a lot of I think that's what you were talking about at first as well, just about laying the foundation. It's not really set in the present. It's like a
mhm.
combination of flashback plus narrative, like what's that called? Somebody speaking over the story. Narration plus
Yeah.
flashback. Which I wasn't expect. I mean, I don't know what I expected from this, but it wasn't that. I thought it'd be like, here's a story adventure, here we go, not
Yeah.
what we got.
Which
But
I think is why it worked so well for me. For the record, I thought this was wonderful, and it did give me a lot of hope for the future for this series. Because we are in this weird dream state and we don't really realize it for a while, and it's just kind of flashes between like what has happened, Elspeth being tricked into killing her own lover, and then also being killed by her essentially like God decides to kill her because he doesn't feel comfortable having someone who can kill gods around him, and but also her origin with the Phyrexians on she was born on New Capenna. That's something we learned in that set when that had come out.
To,
And
to be incredibly anal, technically she was born on Old Capenna.
right, yes, okay, sorry, yeah,
Yes.
she was she was on the plane of what New Capenna is now,
Yeah.
underneath the city, and then she
Yeah.
planes walked away and all that. But which is also funny. We know so much more about Elspeth past this moment. Like we
Yeah.
have so many arcs with her already.
Yeah,
this
because
is the
that's an interesting thing I thought. When
Mhm.
this story originally happened, we didn't know about New Capenna / Old Capenna.
Yes. It was just she was from somewhere we didn't know, and she couldn't remember. All she knew is that she was getting terrorized by
Yeah.
Phyrexians, and that's part of why she fought on Scars of Mirrodin during that block, because she hates the Phyrexians because they're evil. So
yeah. And so this is my moment to come out and say I know nothing about magic lore. I will out myself that I know like zero. So everything you're throwing out here, I have to go to the cards that I play with no understanding of their context or
mhm.
any of the storyline behind it. So this was a really weird, like this is if you have the background reading this, it's super cool because it fills in some of those blanks and it connects to pieces you know exist. As someone that didn't know those pieces, that's a lot to take in. So
So
it's a lot to process.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess
Uh,
that maybe that's the answer to our question is this for new people who are looking for lore about magic? Probably not. This is for people who are upset about the new IPs coming into Magic and want to go back and be able to relive some of the stuff that they weren't able to, which is perfect because this is a story that everybody missed because we were not given it
mhm.
in specific beats like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We were, I think I mentioned this in the last podcast. We were given like a 1 page, 4 paragraph.
Yeah,
That
just
was the entirety of the story we got.
Well, other than the two, but there was two novels. Do you mean like the novels
For
are
original, the novels were for original Theros block. Because this
wait,
so
is
that
about
was
Theros Beyond Death, the set that came out in 2021.
hold on.
mhm.
I thought there was only one Theros set. There's two Theros sets?
Yeah.
Well,
There's technically there's four.
There's
There's an
technically four, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So there
This
was
is-
like the first time we went to Theros, which was an entire year, like we were talking about, and then this is talking about the set that came out in 2021 or 2020. Sorry,
Or 2019, last set of 2020, last set of 2019.
right. It was that winter set, right
Yeah.
in the mix of it.
Yeah.
So
Ooh,
yes,
my brain. Okay. Holy moly. Okay. All right. Like I said before, a lot to process. Okay,
Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense. I was also thinking that when I was talking about before how Magic has, I thought it was sort of like one solid plot line going along the whole time. I think it's because I was thinking about how Magic used to have three, like a set, like a block, and that
yes,
plot line went through a block. Like you were saying that it was
Mhm.
longer, and so yes, jumping around, but that the way of that storytelling has kind of had to change. So.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Where they would try to tell the story in the cards in the set because you could have the last cards be from the third block or whatever that would come out in like April something, and that would be your finale.
mhm.
Um, where now a set is just one point in time. It has to tell the entirety of whatever story they're trying to tell on that plane, if that's what they're hoping to do, which they've now moved to. They try to tell arcs over multiple planes, and you follow a lot of the same people that go through those planes to tell a bigger story. And
Mhm.
those haven't always been great.
Yeah, a
Well,
lot
it's
harder to
funnily
do.
enough, like the thing I think that had the set that had the hardest time with like trying to tell the entire story with 1 point was New Capenna. Because
Yes.
a big plot point of New Capenna is like, oh, it's a world without angels and like demons rule everything and all that. But then the set comes out and there's a ton of angels in it and stuff because the angels
Mhm.
coming back was a plot point.
Yes.
Was that the one
And
with like the different gangs?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes, the mobsters. Yeah, it
the
was like the
mobsters. Okay,
1920s demons mobster thing.
okay.
But it's really hard to keep secrets in a set that's going to then spoil itself because of their aforementioned. We want to tell the story in the cards because we want to make sure people know what happens in the end because they won't read
Hmm.
the stories.
Hmm.
Um,
Which I was thinking about, yeah, storytelling in the cards because I think I really enjoy the storytelling through the cards. I understand that it makes it hard when they want to try and create a cohesive story, but I guess I was thinking about it in relation to Universes Beyond because I was thinking
mhm,
about how I think the sets that have had the most success are those that have the stories that people know and that they have plot points throughout the cards. Like the Lord of the Rings, you know the story and you can
mhm,
see the story elements through the cards. Same with Final Fantasy, that you can see those iconic story moments through the cards. But then you have your first set that doesn't have story moments through the cards, which is our wonderful Spider-Man friend. And there's many issues I think with Spider-Man, but I was wondering if that could be part of it as well. Is the lack of storytelling in Spider-Man compared to what has sort of become the norm?
Uh, maybe. I do think that Final Fantasy might have had less storytelling than than say
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings because that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
three.
Yeah. Because you've never actually played a Final Fantasy game, Shane.
I have played Final Fantasy Tactics, I will have you know.
Okay, yeah, and
That
Final
wasn't
Fantasy
represented in the
and Final
set, just
Fantasy
so you
Crystal
know.
Chronicles.
Yeah,
But
the
yeah,
only the two
but
that weren't represented, Crystal
Yeah.
Chronicles and Tactics, are the only two I played.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, because like
Oof.
they don't really like have the story. They just took like a bunch of iconic moments and gave them cards. Like trying to figure
Mhm.
out the story of the Final Fantasy games from from it would be like completely impossible because you'd be like, here's like one story moment from Final Fantasy V and two from six, and like
Mhm.
that happened
Right.
30 hours apart from each other.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Again, me and lore, not close acquaintances. Whereas
Yeah.
I know Zach, you are also now a Final Fantasy expert, if not a new one.
I'm definitely not an expert, but I was also an MTG ambassador for the Final Fantasy set, so I started playing the games because of it, and then I just started liking the games and I just started playing them. So, but I would not call myself an expert. I am horrible at them, and I play them. Chat tells me what to do, and so I really need their help because I'm really bad at those types of games.
Hey,
How many of them have you finished?
I'm finishing up Final Fantasy 9 right now, and then I played Final Fantasy 10, and then I played the remake of Final Fantasy 7.
Okay, but both
So I'm
remakes or just the
hoping
first one?
just the first one,
Okay,
and
yeah.
then I'm hoping to do Rebirth, and then whenever the other one comes out. But yeah, it would be nice to do some more, but I think I will take a Final Fantasy break after I finish 9. Um, but they are lots of fun. Um, yeah.
yeah, I realize I just fully pulled us off on a different tangent. So to respin back to Elspeth Untold Stories. Speaking of stories and taking
hmm
a break, the this is only four comic. I believe it's four issues is what's
Yes,
planned for
four
this.
issue miniseries.
hmm
Yeah. Do you think that's going to be enough time for the story they want to tell? That's not a lot of pages. So like how far can they get?
I think the answer is like I don't know because I don't really know what happens in the beyond the Thera story. I know she escapes death and then she's out. That's basically what I kind of know from it. She deals with Ashiok a little bit, and then she's out of the underworld. Um,
Mhm.
and that's kind of the extent of what I know.
Do you want me to spoil some stuff that has cards for it and stuff?
Go for it. No,
Go
I'm
for it. Yeah,
fine.
because we do know this is based on the cards. We know like Heliod gets like trapped, loses a bunch of power, and gets like trapped in the underworld.
How do we know that?
Right.
Because there's a card that's like Heliod's something. It was like an aura that like put four counters on him and made him
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He
And
like
then
holds a boulder. He does that whole
yeah,
thing.
yes. And then we also know that like they're going Krufix like also becomes a planeswalker and stuff like that. So
So you anticipate Heliod in the next three issues, Heliod's gonna get locked underground and someone named Krufix is gonna
you're right.
do a thing.
Well, because there's that other like there's another enchantment planeswalker guy who becomes yeah. Like there's a guy who's hunting down Elspeth in the underworld. Because right, because Krufix
hmm
doesn't appear in this comic book.
No.
No. So
Uh
he'll get introduced and then he
this is
will.
wild, man. So this really is how is it? I mean, as someone who has a comic book store, how is this selling? Is this making an impact? Or people
Uh
like, I can't get enough of Elspeth?
okay, well, so we're not like floppy single issue comics are not our bread and butter. So
Right.
we don't selling great of something like we've sold like I think three issues of this, which puts it like higher than most comic books we sell.
Yeah. Well, I just know like Absolute Batman you knew was
Oh
was
yeah,
jumping off
yes,
the shelves as
but
like a floppy issue thing.
yes, the absolute and the abs. I think I've mentioned this before. We sell more absolute comics than every other type of comic put together. So that should tell you. For that to be possible, we can't sell that many of other
Of
types of
Elspeth. Yeah, right.
yeah.
She's not cracking down the door.
But I would also say that if there was a comic named Absolute Elspeth, I don't know if that one would also fly up. I think Batman also holds a lot of weight in
That's
in
true.
that
Yeah.
title.
I mean, I'm
If it was
super
set in the
curious what
absolute
Elspeth would
universe,
be though.
it
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely would sell great.
That would
Okay,
be
well, that would be very interesting.
if it's
Yeah.
like gory, intense violence with Elspeth, I would be curious. But
Yeah.
I think that yeah, this is really artsy and um really high level, which is cool. It's cool to see them taking more of an artistic take on this storytelling and lore intensive.
Yeah,
Very lore intensive. Yeah. If
totally.
if you've been able to follow what we've been talking about, I would say probably, and you haven't read this yet, you're probably the right kind of person to read this. If you're fully lost, but want to challenge yourself, maybe check it out. I don't know. Is this the kind of thing that you're going to recommend to all your lore buddies, Zach?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. If anyone wants to like is missing lore stuff as far as magic goes, I would be like, absolutely, pick this up. This is promising to me. This feels exactly like what I would be looking for. And so I was also excited to hear that it was happening. Um,
Hmm. Yeah. And Spence, I assume you're excited about, you're in the same camp. You're on
Oh yeah,
board for this, excited
absolutely.
for seeing where it goes. Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like they're hitting their demographic, and I'm curious to see then to find out if they find success with this and if it becomes sort of their alternative solution for being able to
mhm.
provide the story that everyone's complaining is disappearing is through this medium.
And I do think that retelling a story that's already kind of been told, but people don't know very well, is great because also they've gone back and done like I was even showing before, like this Chandra comic, which is like all Chandra stuff. Um, but it's also like not touching on a specific place. It's kind of like these other stories we haven't read before, and for whatever reason, it feels like it's not nearly as maybe necessary for like the lore person who's looking for extra stuff could go there, as opposed to being like, this is the game lore. Like you need to know this to look at the
Mm.
cards and show off your knowledge instead of that's a side story that's actually not part of any of the cards, so it's just fun to know, which has kind of been their approach in the past with I think
Yeah,
comics,
and
or at
also
least
some have you read a number of old magic books out of curiosity?
I didn't. I read like I know some stuff with the Brothers War and some of like the
Yeah.
old books like that. I did really enjoy. They used to have fat packs, so you'd like
Mm.
buy it was like a tournament pack and like some cards, but it came with the book. And so I had like the one for Betrayers of Kamigawa, which was the
Nice.
second installment. So I was reading that when I was a kid, and I was like, I think I'm missing something, which is like the first book. Um, but I always thought they're really exciting.
Nice.
Though there do seem to be people who are like either experts on it or people that are like, I'm not interested in it at all.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear myself in that. Yeah, when you asked, have you read any of the old books? I was like, no, obviously not. I haven't gone anywhere near that. But
Yes, and the old books really varied in quality.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, right? That like it was either like they were awesome or like huge stinkers.
Yeah, like
Um,
the worst book I have ever finished is the Zendikar book, In the Teeth of Akron.
ouch,
I'm sure I've read worse
brutal.
stuff, but I didn't bother finishing them. Yeah.
yes.
You
And
slogged through Zendikar.
but this is also a good time. I mean, like this isn't about comics necessarily, but there is a book coming out this next year that is a novel that is for magic. It's for Strixhaven. Um, one of the webcomic authors wrote it, and one of the better ones, I would say. So it does look a little bit more promising for whatever the Strixhaven. I can't remember what the actual. It's like School of Secrets or something. Secrets of Strixhaven. I think that's what the set's called.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
so they are going back to this novel thing as opposed to just doing web comic stuff, which is interesting because those never seemed to be super. I don't know, well received.
Yeah. Is this going to be a printed novel, do you know, or is this an ebook?
I think it's both. I think they will print it,
Yeah.
but that's a good question.
Wow.
I was assuming it was going to be printed.
Yeah. Well,
That's
like if it's a printed novel, it'll have an ebook version, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
how
of
publishing
course.
works now. But yeah.
That yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that they would move back. That's so interesting. I cannot get a read on what Wizards is trying to do with their marketing and diversifying their portfolio. They are
Yes.
unpredictable.
Yeah,
I-
they really do have stuff all over. Like, just it feels like there's so many different departments. It's very corporate. Whereas like there's so many different departments, and they have their own idea of what everything's supposed to be, and that makes some either great hits or like crazy misses that are just like, what was going on with that?
yeah, it doesn't really seem to be strategic in the same way because unfortunately, I know Spence hates why I bring up League of Legends, but I have to bring up League of Legends just because the new
So,
Riftbound card game is coming out,
yeah,
and I think
it
that League
already,
of
yeah,
Yeah, already came out. Already
oh
sold
yeah,
out.
it already came out. There you go.
yeah,
It's sold
yeah,
out at the store.
Yep.
yeah,
I
Wow.
still have starter decks, but booster packs sold out in
Okay.
like 3 days.
yeah.
Because like I think that they're just crushing it when it comes to the being cross-platform between like
Mhm.
TCG, Bread and Butter League of Legends, Arcane Netflix series. Plus they have like Team Fight Tactics. They have a new fighter game coming
Yeah,
out. Like
2XKO.
yeah,
Terrible name for a fighting game.
that's really weird. I don't think anyone's going to realize what it is, but um, it just seems like they're strategically way more cohesive with hitting all these
Mhm.
different areas of media with the same characters and storyline. Whereas Magic is like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Let's see what works, and if it doesn't work, we're gonna forget about it and hit the next thing.
Yeah, one of the things with League of Legends is that their game didn't have story really at the beginning, right? They had a game that worked and they could just make up cool characters and they would have little, correct me if I'm wrong, but they basically had like little bios for them and you could learn
Yes.
little tidbits and little cute things about them. But
Mm.
then when they decided they wanted to actually have a TV show, they're like, we get to do what we want. And that was a little divorced from the game in a way to the betterment of the TV show. That was season one was phenomenal. Um,
Hmm.
so I think that that gives them a little bit of a leg up there. Um, but to be fair, Riftbound is like the second time they're doing a card game because they had the
Oh, they did have something.
Legends of Runeterra, which was a mobile
Yes.
game
Yeah,
that ended up,
online only, and
yeah,
I have some friends who have some choice feelings about Legends of Runeterra.
yeah, it was definitely a cool game, but it did fall apart, and I didn't really go back to it. But that's usually just because games that don't have the same combat as Magic, I don't like as much. Um,
That's right.
so
Because you're a Magic ride or die.
a little bit, yeah.
That's fair. I think you're in good company when it comes to that. But yeah, this is, I think, is there any other thoughts you want to throw in with Elspeth Untold Stories before we move into the next part?
No, not really. I don't know. I feel like the future is bright for this story, which is a new feeling for Magic, I think.
Yeah,
Nice.
isn't that refreshing?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
You know,
exciting. We'll see where the story goes from here. And hey, maybe we'll cycle back to this one when the full thing comes out after being delayed 2 years. Because I thought the latest issue was going to come out in October, and it's
it was
delayed
supposed
to
to.
it was supposed to.
That actually is bad news. Yeah, I hope
Yeah,
that that
that's
doesn't.
not great.
For the record, as someone who follows who has to follow comic books, it's not nearly as bad news as you would think it would be.
Oh, good. Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
this just happens all the time in comic books for whatever reason. Stuff gets like delayed a month,
Hmm.
like
Yeah, they
some
really hedged their
production.
bets by putting like the release date at the end of this one. I think they put the release date at the end of this comic for
Oh,
being
they always do that
October.
too, and then they're just like the
That's just
funniest
wrong.
one is you find the old comic and they're like they change their mind on how many issues are in like this miniseries or whatever, and like the first is like part 1 of 6, and then by like issue 3 it's like part 3 of 4, and it's like yeah.
Oh no. Well, hopefully, Elspeth is able to run the full four
Yeah,
gambit.
it's not part one of two.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Yikes.
the trade paperback is still set for June 16th. So that's
Okay.
still.
Okay.
So,
There you
yeah.
go. We're on track.
Yeah, volume 4 is in February. So like
Well, speaking of multi-volumes, I'll use that as our transition point to talking about the other Magic the Gathering content that we're cycling back to, which is destroy all humans so they can't be regenerated because volume 5 came out somewhat recently in English.
yes, like a month ago I think.
Okay, there you go. So we're now at volume 5 of Destroy All Humans They Can't Be Regenerated. Um, we've shared our thoughts on it, but Zach, I want to give the floor to you. You've read up to number 5.
Yes,
There you
I
go. You
have.
have them all. What are your thoughts on this bizarre manga series set in late 90s Japan?
Yeah, it is so strange and interesting. Um, but I really enjoy it, and I like kept up with it by myself. Like I've of course listened to the episode that you guys had put out, which I was really excited to hear thoughts because I don't know anybody else who's read this book, but I knew that they had had one that was only in Japanese. When I was in Japan, I couldn't. Well, I could have bought it in Japanese, but I thought that maybe that wasn't the best idea because I can't read Japanese. So I was very excited when it was they were talking about how it was going to be, released in English. And so I have been already, I was just planning on reading all of them. And it does have, this kind of strange Yu-Gi-Oh feel to it, but in a way that I really enjoy. And for me, it's really fun because I wasn't playing during these sets. Like one of the issues talks about how excited they are for like Exodus to come out. And it's just fun to hear these like, middle schoolers talk about what card they're looking for their deck or what they're going to put together, and I don't know, tournaments that they're training for and all that stuff. And also there's certain issues where we talk a lot about magic, but then we kind of get focused on like girls, and like you read one entire volume and you're like, oh, there actually wasn't that much magic in this. It really felt like it was mostly what's going to happen between these two characters, and if they're ever going to actually say how they feel about each other, which I do like. I think it's fun. It's a really nice, enjoyable, kind of breezy read.
Yeah, it is fundamentally like a high school romance story, just
Middle
featuring
school
magic
romance
together.
story. Yeah, middle school romance featuring magic together. Also, for those not familiar with when you say it's Yu-Gi-Oh-esque, do you mean sort of like the I choose this to go
Yes.
attack? And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, in the when they play magic, like the world feels like you're in this whole spell slinging. Your things are fighting each other, and you're getting hit for real in your body when you get attacked. And then when you come out of it, like none of that was real, as opposed to Yu-Gi-Oh, where it was like I don't know, kind of digital stadiums or whatever they kind of do.
yeah, whatever that thing was.
Holograms, and then eventually they would like attach their set bombs to their bodies and stuff, so they get killed if they die in the game. They die for real.
Right, yeah, and all those kinds of things like, oh, this actually, your soul will be trapped in this thing forever, or like, oh, I stole your grandpa in a card, and now you have to go save him from the Shadow Realm. So I'm glad that it's not that hard into it, but when they're actually playing the game, it still feels like it did when I was a kid playing with my friends.
Yeah, it
where we're,
feels like super
immersed.
high stakes. Yeah, and you're like super into it, and the hits are real, and every life change is like, wow, he gained 6 life. It's like, whoa, crazy.
Oh my god, I can't believe that.
Yeah, but I think that what you're touching on there, like even if you didn't play during these sets, like that excitement as a kid and like being stoked for certain cards and hanging out with friends, like it's so relatable. If anyone that played Magic at any point, I think can really relate to this. You don't need to know these cards.
I don't even think you had to play Magic necessarily. You just have to be kind of interested in learning a little bit about it.
That's true. Yeah, they do have a lot of. It's so funny. I keep on thinking I still have a decent amount of the book left, but it's like no, the last like 15 pages are like explaining what the rules are
This
and
is
like
how
what the references
like
are.
sealed deck works, and this is what a tournament structure for draft is and stuff.
Yeah,
It
so
is
good.
also nice how they'll go through all the like random Japanese pop culture references to the 90s, because there's no way any of us got half of those.
Yeah.
For sure missed all of those. But it's just such a special, funny, weird thing. And I think what you're talking about better explains to me why it's so popular. Because I remember in when we talked about it before, I didn't understand how it was so big in Japan. But I think what you're talking about, where you don't need to have magic specifically, but if you're just into TCGs and you're into like very breezy, whimsical romance, this kind of checks all the boxes. It's super easy to read. It's also like the biggest fantasy thing I've ever read because there's no way Kano would be popular. This kid is cringe fest across the board. And his ability to net 2 potential love interests is fully unbelievable outside of a fantasy world.
All about confidence, man.
It's true. He does
I
have
say
a
as
lot
the
of
only
it.
one who's not married here.
It is his like confidence. I mean, he has that kind of like Oh, no one can ever beat me. I remember going to my first F&M with my friends from like sixth grade, and we are like, "Oh yeah, like we're gonna crush this thing." And you walk in and you see everybody, you're like, and everything's different. I'm like, no, no way. I have no idea what I'm doing, and just getting
Yeah.
obliterated by like crazy combos that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
but
definitely like a fundamental part of getting into Magic.
yes,
Is going to
Yeah.
your first tournament and getting destroyed.
and be like, oh,
Yeah.
which he does, it does happen to him, and he has to train and figure out all these things. One of the weirdest things I did find about the series, though, is that I was so confused early on in the in when we first meet Yakumo, and how Kano, our main character, doesn't realize that she's a girl, and it just seems like I don't know if this is. It's just such a strange, like plot point where it's just like, hey, is like I don't know if it's because like oh we want Yakumo to really like him and he has to seem so aloof, and if he knew that she was a girl then he wouldn't be that way. Is that kind of what they're going for, or is it just a strange thing that yeah Kano's kind of oblivious to stuff around him, because it doesn't really seem like we see that character and we're like we know instantly like oh this is a girl. I understand this with this dynamic.
Yeah.
And it takes him a while. He keeps second guessing himself too. Like,
Yeah, yeah. When he's with her later and he's like, "Are you actually a girl with all these things you like?" It's like this weird, like gender stereotyping.
Yeah.
At
I
the
think
same
it's
time as he's
Japan
with,
and the 90s. Or two,
right.
yeah, add to that.
That's true. We do live in a different world. So there's a part of me that's thinking like, oh, is this our first trans character that we're going to talk about? And then like, yes, bringing up the 90s, like like most likely not. And so I was like wondering if that was like something that was going to come up later in the story or something. But in the end, it just kind of feels just like just an interesting. Huh. I don't really. Every time he says that, I'm like, I don't really understand what you're
I don't
talking
really
about.
get it. I
But
think
okay.
it's just it's one of those anime romance tropes. I think that they hit a lot of tropes in this. The like misunderstood romance, like that they both like one another, but neither will admit it, and then there's a misunderstanding, and then there's the
Right.
love rival, and the I'm gonna battle you to see who can
This
like
guy
this other person.
yeah, who like left the tournament because he like was so bummed, and
Yeah,
you
there
both
was
don't notice that he's gone. Um,
a lot of interesting pieces of this, but yeah, I think that part of it just has to do with it being a weird trope, and this
gotcha.
Kano won't see her as a potential love interest, I think, is what it's trying to make crystal clear.
Proof. Yeah.
Is he
Yeah.
will like not see her as a woman. um why they it does, you're right that it doesn't really make
Yeah.
sense for like.
We needed to fit 18 volumes of this thing.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't logically check. Is that what it's at right now in Japan? It's at
That,
eight.
that's it. So it's finished. It's finished. The whole series is 18 volumes long.
Oh my God. There's another 13 volumes of this. So at this, I assume he's going to eventually win the Pro Tour at the rate at which he's going, already day twoing his Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, day two in your
Ridiculous.
first Grand Prix, like that impressive.
Yeah, super impressive.
Yeah,
I was surprised that they didn't show more of that. They're just like, yeah, he day two. And I was like, where's the build up to this? This is like a significant event. How are we not talking
yeah.
about this?
Neither of us ever managed to day two at a Grand Prix.
No.
I've never been able to do that. No.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I
you
6-3 won once. Almost made. I lost my win and in.
such a bummer.
Devastating.
And that was GP
Uh,
Vegas too, the biggest tournament of all time when it
oh
happened.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh geez.
So close.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it was just to show like, oh yeah, he trained, the shopkeeper's wife, who was like a limited master. He was explaining all this stuff, which was also cool. I mean, like limited's my favorite way to play Magic, so it was nice to have a little bit of that.
I think it's all of our favorite ways to play Magic here.
Mhm. Yeah, I
It's
think
the
like
only way to play.
the more you play, the more it's like, oh man, keeping up with the meta can be very difficult. Let's just play with cards that we open. It's so much nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit quicker. Uh, but yeah, this is such a funny story. My goodness. Is this the way forward? Should they just always be putting out like meta content? That's the way that Magic should get I mean, this is clearly their biggest. I assume this has to be their biggest commercial success outside of the TCG. To make
Probably.
it 18 volumes, it's
Yeah.
got to be. Considering how
Yeah.
quickly they abandon other projects, this runs
Hmm.
long. Um,
Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
we got the Netflix show or whatever, whenever that's supposed to come,
that's
is
right.
actually supposed to come out. Will actually theoretically is going to come out soon, so that'll probably be the only other thing that might compete with it.
Yeah.
But
I
for
think it
now, it's
just
probably the
got,
biggest.
yeah, the Netflix show kept getting pushed back for different reasons. And then, but it is actually happening. And there's also a movie made by the same Legend Studios that did the D&D movie.
Yeah.
Those that is like down the road, but that is also in the works. Though we have heard this many times and
Yes.
been disappointed many times.
Yes. I distinctly what rolling back to original Theros block. I distinctly remember at a PTQ when Born of the Gods came out, talking to people
Hmm.
about the Magic movie that just got announced.
Mm.
So
Oh
Hmm.
that should tell
God.
you how long we've been waiting on
That-
this.
that's dark.
Yeah.
That's pretty heavy, but
Um, but no, I agree. Like I think this is perfect talking about these two books because it does seem like there is kind of a world of people that are like into the lore of the actual characters on the cards, and then people that like the stories about the tournaments. And like hearing old stories about Kai Buddha or like John Finkel, like these legends of Magic players and what they had to do to get to certain places, or the mechanics of the board state and how they maneuvered their way into a winning position to take it all down. Those are also amazing Magic stories that get told in different places. Usually, pros are talking about it, or like on their own podcasts or YouTube videos or something. So having your own archival type of, I mean, I know that this is not actually something that happened in real life, but if that is kind of an avenue that we're moving towards, where it's like, should we spend time telling the story about magical people, or should we just tell stories about tournaments and what has happened in the past previously?
that's exactly what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was thinking about as I was reading this as well. That I was like,
Hmm.
there's so much work that has to go into something like Elspeth Untold Stories in terms of providing backstory. You need to provide so much information, and you're so reliant on them having to want to further information on the lore. Whereas when you have the meta, you have like magic, the events and the pro players and like the storytelling of the played game itself is so
Hmm.
exciting. Is there like, can you imagine if there was a biography, like a graphic novel biography of Paulo Vito Damarosa? And like, what is he, how did he grow up? How did he get into magic? How
Hmm.
did he reach this point? Like, I would be so into that. That's like the most exciting
Absolutely.
prospect as a graphic novel idea. And I imagine there must be an appetite for that for people who want
I
to
mean,
engage with magic on like an interesting, exciting meta story level. Um,
have
and that just
either of you
seems so
watched?
accessible.
Have either of you watched Enters the Battlefield? The like it's like a 30-minute documentary on YouTube about basically it follows a bunch of different people, but one of the people is a very young Reed Duke with William
Yes.
Huey Jensen and the other guy who was part of like they called it the
Owen Turtenwald,
yes,
who didn't.
Owen
We don't
Turtenwald.
talk about Owen Turtenwald anymore.
Yeah. But they were part of the several different people that they were following. Melissa DeTora was part of that group, I think, as well. Sorry,
Mm,
as like one of the people that they were following.
mhm.
And it was just like basically kind of some tournaments that they had done through some stuff and kind of what it was just like following people during like RCQ season essentially. And
Mhm.
it was so enthralling. I was so excited when I was coming back to Magic after, as many of us do, kind of come and leave and all that stuff. That there was something like this. I was like, this is so cool. Is there more? And there aren't a ton of other things like that. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would be really cool to have some more of these like old stories about, oh, well, these are the decks at the time for this tournament and this person, this story of them taking it down or whatever would just be really, really exciting.
Yeah, I think that's, I would, Wizards, are you listening? Wizards, hello. Give us meta content. I
You know,
think that's
of all the times we've like called out someone, this is the highest chance they might actually be listening.
yeah,
Still very low, but
Mhm.
but you never know. I mean, I think that would be so cool. And I don't think I've watched Enters the Battlefield. I mean, maybe if it came out a while ago, potentially.
Yeah, it
it's
was a
pretty
while.
old.
I
At
think.
one point it was on Netflix, so that's how I remember watching it.
Oh, I did
Wow,
not know that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
But
I think it was around like Khan's block is what they were following.
Yeah.
hmm,
I think that Patrick Chapin was talking about Siege Rhino at some point in it.
Yeah. So it
Um,
has that weird part about Patrick Chapin's eating habits. It's one of the weird things I remember.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
but that's like the best part. That's so fun when you get like that kind of inside look into a professional's lives. And yeah, I think that the combination of exactly what you said, where destroy all humans that can't be regenerated isn't real. But if it
Hmm.
was, that'd be
Like,
pretty sweet. Pretty sick. Yeah, but no, we don't have any middle schooler calling himself Cloud going into
mm,
tournaments.
well, he's
Well, we
calling shots
probably
from the
do.
90s, which
Yeah.
is perfect, right? Like it's already like the universes beyond thing where we're getting like Final Fantasy stuff in Magic with this character talking about Cloud.
Yeah,
Or
exactly. The tie-ins are
We
already there.
yeah, doubly fun of how much like how because this originally came out in, like I think it was like 2017 or something, the original Japanese release.
oh, sure, yeah.
So like how old it is compared to Final Fantasy getting out of the
Yeah.
actual game.
Crazy.
Which is so funny. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the space that we're moving in. I mean, Shane, you're already saying that like the lore isn't necessarily your cup of tea, but Spence, I don't know, like as far as the universe is beyond stuff, and as we move into less lore focused things, like this one cares specifically about the mechanics of the card game, and I'm holding up the books, and the comic book cares specifically about like the actual story of the cards. Um, will we move into a space where the mechanics are more important and the actual things on the cards and the story of magic, quote unquote, the magical characters,
Yeah.
will that matter as much?
Well, I think we could argue we've been here for 30 years with the mechanics are more important than the characters.
Hmm.
Like that's kind of like that's kind of how I've always felt about Universal Beyond. Like
Hmm.
and like because I do enjoy the Universal Beyond sets. I think they're a lot of fun. And as someone who owns a comic shop, even Spider-Man, I found Spider-Man was enjoyable.
Hmm.
Whatever the Omen Path on Magic Arena, not a nope.
Not the
That
same.
one's not so
Yeah.
good, but actual Spider-Man, even that like worked out pretty well for me. Like I liked that one enough. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's just a matter of like think we're kind of there, and let's see if they can pull off some good Magic stories while they're doing all this Universal Beyond stuff. Because
Yeah.
like I have no doubt in mind, they're not. There's a lot of doomers who say like, oh, Magic's Magic's going to abandon the original stories and stuff. But like, no, they're not. Like they have too much having stuff store like sets they have full creative control over is just too valuable of a thing for them to ever give that up.
For sure, absolutely. But I think you hit it pretty hard is that, we have Magic players who have not touched the story at all. Shane specifically did not know or care about the story necessarily, still loved the game, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that continues to be true that, like, yeah, the Magic story has been all over the place for years, and some are good and some are terrible, and but everyone still likes coming back to the game, and so I think that's really what's going to keep it afloat, even if we're bleeding into other stuff. Um, so
Mhm. As long as the game is good, people will want to play the game.
yes,
Is the way I've heard
Well,
it
that's the
before.
biggest thing. Like every time anyone's ever complained about like a cash in of a Universal Beyond set, it's like, but like Final Fantasy's like the best, most fun set I've played in
it
like
was
5 years.
so good. It was
Such
so
a good
good.
set.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think it's super. I really appreciate you sort of comparing that. One of these is about mechanics and about the
Mhm.
actual magic as a game, and the other one is about the story of magic. And yeah, super interesting to see where both of these will go in the future and what, especially knowing that they have a Netflix series that they allegedly have a movie. Is it going to be, are they going to focus on the mechanics, or is it going to lean super heavy into the lore? I mean, I guess it's only
Yeah.
time will tell.
Or do we go back to the like old school original magic novels that like tried to fit so much of the mechanics in completely to the detriment of the stories?
Oh no,
Mhm.
let's hope not.
It's
Not
so
option
it's
three.
really fun to reading those old stories. Like, yeah, we got to include like someone mana burning themselves and stuff. It's like, yeah, sure.
That requires so much game understanding to
Yeah.
comprehend why they're talking about mana burn. And then you have someone a few years later who's like, "What is mana burn?"
Yeah.
Now it's just an irrelevant plot point.
Yeah. Well, I think yeah, 15. They got rid of mana burn like 15 years ago now.
Wow,
Thank God.
free mana burn. Yeah, what unnecessary difficulties. But my goodness, what a fun chat. So then, think it's safe to say that if you're super into magic lore, check out Elspeth. If you're into magic, check out Destroy All Humans, or any TCG. Really, like Zach was saying, check out Destroy All Humans. They can't be regenerated. But if someone is wanting to check out something else entirely, maybe they're wanting to be up to date with whatever their favorite streamer slash YouTuber slash podcaster is watching, reading, consuming. Regular Zach, when you're not streaming, what are you watching? What are you doing?
Oh man, this is one of those always such a hard like question to answer. I did recently watch Avatar: The Last Airbender for the first time because there's a magic set. So I was not
Yeah.
privy to this series. Um, so I was able to go through the whole thing, which was wonderful. I had not really watched it when I was a kid. I'd seen some episodes here and there, but it is this fun thing where there's like random people I didn't know that were just like so into it, and so I love being able to dive into that. Also, it's only 3 seasons, which now is something that I am very interested in watching TV shows that are not like I don't know 1,000 episodes like One Piece or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
1,200 now.
but yeah, oh gosh. But the one that I'm actually actively watching right now that me and my wife will sit down that is really strange, but we're going back and we're watching King of the Hill, um, the the cartoon TV show about the Texans, which has been a fun, weird. It was a TV show I never really watched that much, but short cartoons are something me and my wife enjoy watching together and not getting too deep on stuff. But in just the landscape of what the world kind of is now, it's funny to watch a cartoon that feels primarily like very Republican, but at the same time feels mostly just down to earth, and mostly it's like funny, but the main character is always looking to do the right thing, even if it's like the most ridiculous stuff, like not leaving work 10 minutes early to go on your vacation with your friends, like making sure you're, doing everything by the book and
Doing your work hours.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
sticking to it. That's right. I remember you talking about this on the Arena Regulars podcast, and you
yeah.
also mentioned like that they do address stuff like I think it was drag queens as an episode.
Yeah.
It is progressive in some ways, which I
Yeah.
didn't know of King of the Hill. But at the same time, I've seen some clips and like that they really treat. They have a indigenous character that they're like
Mhm.
very that they treat address sort of their challenges and navigation like really
Mhm.
well as well. Um,
Yeah, like most of the storylines around John Redcorn as that character
Yeah.
is something else that happened in the show. He's like the father of one of the character's sons, and the person who's parenting that son or that child. Neither of them are privy to the fact that he's the obvious father that everyone knows because he's the indigenous guy that we know, and the son is obviously also indigenous, but nobody like those two cannot put
Connects the
those
dots.
those
Yeah.
lines together.
And then of
Um,
course, yeah, also the whole thing with the actor for John Redcorn though. So that's yeah. So
yes.
that's like a tragedy.
Oh
So
my God, I forgot about that.
yeah.
Right.
Which just adds another layer to all of this.
I did forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also was on Parks and Rec, but recently there's well, it's just very sad news about that if you
Yeah.
want to look that up.
Hmm.
Shoot, I did forget when I was watching the show recently. I'm like, oh, that's so nice, and then
Yeah.
right. But no, yeah, the drag queen episode is nice. Like we have a character Peggy who's like our mom, and she's always had gigantic feet, and it's kind of a joke of the show. And so she finds this store that sells really huge shoes, and this really lovely woman that helps her pick out ones that would be great for her outfit. And then they end up hanging out a lot, and it's just a drag queen who's in drag all the time, thinking that Peggy's also a drag queen. And
Their feet size.
yeah, and they a lot of things, they kind of go through a whole, transformation as far as like Peggy's mostly really sad that she was mistaken as a drag queen, but then is accepted by the group. And then she gets to do a clothing exchange with all the drag queens, and they love all of her clothes. And it's a really wonderful moment where she's accepted
Great.
into this group and they all accept each other. But the funny thing is that Hank thinks that the drag queen and the guy out of drag are two different people entirely, and but treats them both very nicely and is like trying to make sure his wife's doing all right and really likes them both. And it's just an episode that was very surprising to me, specifically with what's happening in the world. So I was like,
Hmm.
oh, this is a strange cartoon bridge to a state I wouldn't necessarily otherwise be excited to venture to. So
No, there you go. A fun way to head down south then. And King of the Hill is older now. Also, that absolutely brought up the weirdest core memory for me about a different cartoon character that has huge feet, which I had to quickly look it up. There was also a character in the Proud Family
Oh
that had
yeah.
giant feet.
That was
Do you remember that?
oh absolutely. It was like the
The
like
like,
Ice Queen kind of friend rival of the
yeah,
main
the friend
girl.
rival. Yeah, also had giant feet.
Yeah.
oh, were those the like the blue characters?
The blue
I think you're
characters.
thinking of Angela Anaconda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Proud Family was the one.
Oh no, and I feel like I think they are now seen as like ashy characters, but there were like some
Oh,
bullies that were
oh
like
yeah, yeah,
looking
yeah,
to be.
yes, like the whatever sisters or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, though, yeah, yes, those that
I
yes, that
got
that was the Proud Family.
yeah. Uh,
yeah, it had neither here nor there. I just
Yeah,
had to
because
mention
also because
that
like
that's such a
we like never
weird.
like watched the Proud Family. It just was like the show that was on before Kim Possible, and Family Channel
yes.
had like weird timings
Hmm.
on like when stuff would happen. So like you'd get like half an episode of the Proud Family when you get there to watch Kim Possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that we are losing out on is the things are just on and you see bits of them. Um, as opposed to just like you have to make the decision to watch a thing instead of
Mhm.
like learning about new shows, literally just knowing any information about the Proud Family because it happened to be on before a show that you were wanting to watch. And then it's,
Yeah.
at some point you're probably like, oh, you know what? I'll probably go on a little bit earlier because then I get to see more of that show or whatever. Um, I don't know. We miss out on a lot of that now that our
Different
TV
era.
is in a
Yeah.
is in a different space.
And that we can choose what we want to watch. That's
Yeah.
true.
Or spend a lot of time trying to make a decision and getting frustrated, and then just watching King of the Hill again. So
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I love the dichotomy that you're watching King of the Hill and Avatar, like the complete opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of like animated shows.
yes, yeah,
That
Both
are,
both Western animated, both like circa 2003 they both came out.
what I would love to see the Venn diagram of who's watching both of those at the time that
both
they're
of
airing.
them.
Who is the cohort of people that is
Yeah,
engaging with both?
most likely a parent that has one during the day, one at night. I'm
Mhm.
assuming.
It's gotta be. But I think I'd asked this on the Discord, but do you have plans to watch Korra, or is that going to be you have other stuff to deal with? And
I think I will watch Korra, but it is the kind of thing that like I watched Avatar by myself. My wife was less interested, so she would see little bits of it, but it was the kind of thing that this is my show, and
Hmm.
so if there happens to be time where I'm by myself and gonna watch a show and not play Magic, um, or edit videos or whatever, then I'll probably start watching Korra. But also, like,
Check it out.
if the Avatar set goes well, you're probably looking at a Korra set at
I
some
think we
point.
can pretty definitively say there's going to be a Korra set if the Avatar set does well.
Yeah.
The
Interesting.
Hobbit set kind of proves that, and I assume there's a Final
Yes.
Fantasy set, another
Right.
Final Fantasy set coming.
Well, I could see the Korra. Korra's a cool story. It's yeah, very different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
obviously very similar, but
Third Avatar coming out next year, is it?
yeah, that's right. There's another
Oh,
one
is
coming,
there?
but
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
that's
that gives
right.
me
Forgot about that.
some more incentive to actually watch Korra earlier than I was planning.
The
Okay.
timeline. And it's funny with Korra, you had said like you had heard it's more mature, and in my head I was like, it's not that much more mature. And then I was looking at stuff, and I got reminded that season one ends with a murder suicide. I was like, oh yeah,
So
Korra's
yeah, there you go.
pretty
Definitely
intense.
more. Well, which is I'm very interested in that because my favorite episodes of Avatar was like the bloodbending stuff, and I was like, can we have more of that, please? That's awesome.
For sure. 100%. That kind of intensity is for sure more present in Korra.
Sweet.
The Korra villains are also widely what a lot of people consider is that Avatar has the best main character cast, but Korra has the best villains. The second season villain sucks, but the first and the third one, peak villainy. Where it's like you're kind of like, well, is the villain that wrong though? Like they kind of have a point.
Yeah.
Where you're hitting that sweet spot with a villain if you can actually empathize and see their point of view. But yeah, lots of those are fun dual recommendations. I love that. Maybe consider watching Avatar King of the Hill. There's something there for everyone.
Also, to completely derail this for a moment, here's
Go
where I
for
admit
it.
that outside of Osmosis, my only experience with Avatar is the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
that's dark. That's heavy.
Oh no.
It's messed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So maybe if Avatar goes really well and then Korra goes really well, we'll get an M. Night Shyamalan magic set.
Ooh.
Uh,
Will we get the serial whisperer from Lady in the Water then?
I don't
That
know.
would be sick. That movie was awesome. If I can have that one dude who has like one giant arm and one tiny arm as a commander, that's what you're looking at. That would be sweet.
Oh my goodness. You found the only other person who knows all the M. Night Shyamalan movies. My God.
I mean, like if there's an unbreakable magic set that then goes into all the other versions of that film.
Yeah. Oh yeah. With gotta
Also
have
cool.
all the different what's his name, the guy who plays Professor X and then also Split. Have a bunch of cards
Yeah,
that just like
the-
affect him. Yeah. James McAvoy. Have
Yes.
just like 20 creature cards and they're all
Oh.
just different versions of James McAvoy.
Oh my God. Because of a split person.
Because that was the split personalities. That's so funny.
Unhinged.
I mean, like this is the type of world that I'm interested in moving into as far as magic goes. Is like this pop culture kind of magic things. I would be fine going full force into it.
So when you saw the Dwight secret layer, you're like, finally, I've been asking for this for years.
It was the
Give
kind of
me
thing
my
where I was
Dwight
like,
cards.
well, of course we're gonna have something like this. Like this is just where we're headed.
Yeah.
So
Why was anyone surprised at that point? Yeah. We were very much spiraling towards. I mean, so legitimately, we might get split James McAvoy cards. I think it's kind of like if we're getting Dwight Schrute on cards, it's really the world is fully open to whatever we want with Universes Beyond. If you can have an office supplies worker, the sky's the limit.
I'm telling you, Magic has specifically talked about how they're trying to get more women into the game and they want to do like a K-pop Demon Hunters thing. I was like, let's just go for it. Like, give me like the Gilmore Girls. I need like Grey's Anatomy. Come on,
Hell yeah.
let's go. Like,
Yeah, why not?
why not?
I mean, that's pretty great.
I love too that they were like the announcement of like Hasbro's earned the rights to do make stuff for K-pop Demon Hunters, and in the announcement they're like, and Magic the Gathering will do something with this too. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's probably gonna be like a year out, but like they're being straight up with that one.
100% they're gonna get it. Also, this is neither here nor there. Gilmore Girls, I think, is an incredible series. I think it is way better than anyone would expect.
It is.
It's
It is fantastic. As far as like, I haven't actually seen all of it because we always kind of stop around the same part, or like
Interesting.
it got to the point where I was the one that was like, can we watch Gilmore Girls tonight? Like, I
Yeah.
want to keep going, just because I love when a show is like that, where the characters feel real and flawed, and
Mhm.
they're constantly making decisions that are like usually bad for themselves, but like they do feel more like actual humans. Um, and good show,
Yeah,
great show.
fast writing. That's the other part of it as well. Just like really
That's true.
fast. Lorelai
Very
is very snappy and
clippy,
um,
yeah,
yeah,
witty.
love it. Love the trifecta of recommendations. My goodness, incredible. But speaking of recommendations, Spence, the part of the episode where we throw it over to you as we introduce the next long comic. What do you have planned for us for the next long comic?
Yeah. So I counted this one. Yeah. So back to graphic novels because I guess this was kind of this kind of one kind of counts as manga. So yeah, back to the graphic novels, and we're going to be doing The Nice House on the Lake by James Tynion the Fourth.
I have so many questions. So what was the name of this? The house on
The Nice House on the Lake.
the nice house on the lake.
Yeah,
I often have like relatively heard of a lot of the things we read. I've never heard of
because
this.
this is a relatively new one. So the basic premise of it is that like a guy invites all of his friends to like spend a weekend at his lake house, and then on the first night there, the apocalypse happens, and everyone else in the world dies. And they learn that their friend who invited them there is like an eldritch being who wanted his friends to survive the apocalypse with him.
Oh my God,
So he's
spoilers.
well, this is all revealed in like the literal first like immediately. So it's just
Okay.
like all of them being like, okay, now what? Like everyone else is dead. Do we just like spend the rest of our lives just hanging out at this lake house?
Wow. Okay. This is something else.
Oh
All
yeah.
right. Strap in.
Yeah.
The nice house on the lake. That is not what I would have expected for just a plot in general. But
Yeah.
how exciting.
Yes,
Okay, cool.
yeah, it was one of those ones I remember reading it like relatively recently, well, at the store, and it's like, man, this is like exactly the kind of thing I was super into, like
There we
for comic
go.
books, like yeah, back when I was in
Yeah,
like university.
Eldritch Horror sounds great. Is this the kind of thing that you were reading in university, Zach? You were picking up Eldritch Horror for Fringe comics?
No, not so much. Though this looks awesome, and I'm definitely going to be reading this and listening next week. So, or next episode.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so if you also want to get in on this, go to VesperiaComics.com for pickup at Vesperia Manga and Comics if you're in the lower mainland of British Columbia, or order for Canada-wide shipping. Otherwise, check out a comic store near you, borrow the book from a friend, or see if it's probably not at your local library with how, or 2022. Maybe it is.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you never know. Check it out. Local libraries are the best.
Yeah, I think
But
once
that's,
again, just the first volume.
yeah,
There's
for
there's like
volume one.
two volumes for the Nice House on the Lake, and then there's another series called Nice House on the Sea, which is like the sequel series.
Interesting. Cool. But yeah, the nice house on the lake will be our next episode. And that's it for episode 22 of the Long Comics Book Club. Thanks so much for listening. And again, a huge thank you to our regular Zach for joining us today. Zach, where can the folks find you?
I'm on different places. I'm the regular underscore Zach on Instagram and TikTok and different stuff. But you can find me on Twitch. I'm regular underscore Zach. I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 to 2, as I like to do.
Amazing. Well, if you want to find us, we're also Blue Sky Instagram for Long Comics Book Club, and we have Discords. We have a small community for Long Comics, but you also have a bumpin' Discord community with the regular Zach. If you want to jump in and talk Magic Shop, that's a great place to go. Your Discord is hopping. It's always fun to jump in there and chat with people. But yeah, if you want to connect with the Long Comics Book Club, you can jump on our Discord to talk about anything that we talked about today. Elspeth Untold Stories, or Destroy Humans, They Can't Be Regenerated, or also The Nice House on the Lake in advance of the December 6th podcast. And that's it for us today. And we'll look forward to talking to you next time. Bye bye.
See ya.
Bye.